I've done my fair share of side hustles. Some have died in the research phase, others have gotten past that but still remain unprofitable, and others have turned out pretty well for me. So, in this video, I'll share what those have been for me, the lessons I've learned from starting those things, and how you can apply those lessons yourself in starting your own ventures and hopefully turning them into profitable. I'm thankful to have grown up and to continue to be in a family that is entrepreneurial minded, business minded, and that rubbed off on me at a young age, which enabled me to start trying things, or at least start looking into things. The first of these was with Craigslist and eBay and looking how I could buy, resell, and make a profit on old phones, old iPhones. I hate to say it, but this was the thing that died in the research phase. I do recall having a notebook full of research and how I would research things and research phone prices in my area, Craigslist. I believe it was my dad who suggested the venture to me to try to do that and how I could be profitable with it, and he would be the one he recommended to take me to the purchases of these phones, and then I would be able to resell them for a profit on eBay. But for whatever reason that I can't recall, because this was years ago and I'm very sure it was well over a decade ago. So I was not even probably 8 years old when I was doing this, but I was still tech savvy as I've always been, so I was able to navigate eBay and Craigslist and all that. But it died at the research phase. I was just keeping on researching and seeing this person is selling this used iPhone in my area and this person is selling this used phone in my area, and I would write it down, and then I'd see the comparable prices for how much it would go for on eBay, which is where I would plan to be flipping it. But it didn't get off the ground. And I sit before you here near the close of 2024, unable to recall why I never let such a good idea at such a young age not get off the ground, because I had the means and I had a person, my father, who was willing to help me get that going, but I just didn't. I don't know whether it was fear of rejection at a young age or fear that it would not work out at a young age. I can't say, again, don't recall, but that's what happened. And yeah, so I guess the flipping of things is something that I can say I'm experienced in, but am I really experienced in, because I didn't really do it. But yeah, flipping phones is something that I dabbled in. But again, even as I talk about it right now, can I even validly say that I dabbled in it? I'm not sure. So it's hard to get a takeaway from that one, because I do remember researching on Craigslist, and I do remember, filtering certain filters on Craigslist and looking, in my area or close by my area, this type of phone, and then how would it look on eBay. But never got off the ground because I didn't let it get off the ground. So just remembering that is even nostalgic, and it's good to remember, but also a good reminder that, wow, some of these things we have embedded in us, some hidden fears of what may be, is pretty dangerous, and we gotta nip them at the bud before they start growing bigly. The next one is trading, and this is one that I can say it did indeed get off the ground. It started out with just stock trading, because my father and I went to a seminar, an in-person seminar in our city in the fall of 2018, hosted by this company, and we learned about a lot of different types of trading at the basic level: stocks, what it is, how you do it, buy, sell, and then about options, and then about things way beyond options, covered calls, and some other things I cannot remember right now. But it was good to attend and go in person and talk with the instructors and other people about that subject. And thanks to my father actually starting out with stocks and actually going for it, I went along too, and I did actually get off the ground with that. So stocks trading was what I started out with, and just balancing that with school, I was paper trading that, and it was good to learn and try out all patterns and rolling stock or consolidating and types of markets: bull, bear, squirrel market, rolling stock between the trend lines, learning about trend lines, 2 points make a line, but 3 points make a trend, and stuff like that. And I happen to be working on trading still today, which I'll get into a bit. So it was good to get that foundation at 12 years old of what stocks are and the fact that that is a thing that I can invest in, the stock market. And yeah, now, was it profitable? Actually, I can't remember if I just kept it at the paper trading, demo trading level with just straight stocks, or if I eventually put in some money to actually just straight stock trade. I'm not sure I did. So, but I kept on paper trading and I didn't really lose much steam, because the next side hustle that I tried, or I worked on, was options. So options, this one I can confidently say that not only did I get off of the research stage, but that I actually put in my own money with and started being profitable, and I started learning. I was thankful to my parents for putting me in a community where not only could I interact with the other people who did the stock thing, but also where I could learn about it from different instructors and different webinars throughout the week, as the group had a calendar. So it was really great. And yeah, I still have the foundations of learning how to trade options to this day in the things that I do related to trading right now. We're just learning about things like liquidity, supply and demand, learning how earnings affects things, earnings plays, and gap ups, gap downs, various things like that. And I did indeed put my own money into this, and for a bit I was indeed profitable. I can actually remember a story where it was 2 summers ago when I joined this group that, I was following their signals, and that's a pitfall that I fell into, which I'll get into in a bit. That, I'd said that, oh, let me do this trade, and I actually told my mother, if I make this amount of money on this trade, if I make like $100 or so on this trade, then let's go get ice cream. And I made $200 on that trade. I put in maybe $500 or so, but still, that's a 40% return on my money. If my memory serves me right, that I did put about 500 in there. And so, I made that on that Friday. Friday is amazing for volatility, for options, if you play it right. And we went and had ice cream that Friday, so it was fun. But wasn't able to have the foundations built for that long in options to a point where it did cost me. And so I started having expenses and more expenses. And eventually, after starting out being a profitable options trader, I eventually got into the red again. Not again. I eventually got into the red. And unfortunately, I stayed in the red for a long time. So, and with school coming up that fall, I had to really analyze my priorities. And even though I knew that this trading thing had vast potential, and like, oh, I could make more money than my teachers and stuff like that, I had to, just dial it back, because even though I thought what I thought, and I understood what the assignment was, and that assignment was the assignments in school, and I had to prioritize that. Even though I tried to execute trades in between my classes, which had a gap at 9:30, from 9:30 to 9:40, right when the market opens at 9:30 Eastern. I was profitable in some of them, but I eventually realized that it was an unsustainable way to make money, especially since I hadn't developed the roots. And so that's where that ended up. I'm still doing trading today, just a different kind, but again, I think it was still good to do and good to give me a foundation at 15 or so years old, and I'm still learning those relevant skills today. I'm still using that foundation that I got to help me onward today. And the next side hustle that I had that really became more than a side hustle is YouTube. And I've talked about it in a video before. You can click on it below the subscribe button. By the way, if you're liking this video, be sure to share with somebody and give it a like as well. Be sure to subscribe. YouTube is the next side hustle. And in my second YouTube video, I believe, I talk about it, so you can check that out after this one's done, how I accidentally started a YouTube channel. So I won't go through the whole story of that there, but it was I never meant to start a YouTube channel in 2022, but I did. I didn't even use my face, never had to use my voice to get monetized, and I did get monetized, and I've grown it to 5 figures worth of subscribers, and it's actually made me, some decent money. That is the side hustle I can say was the first one for me that ended up being profitable. And what I learned with it was, stay consistent, because, without consistency, a YouTube channel could die, will die. Yeah, YouTube. It's been amazing, and it's given me the foundation to start a channel like this, which you're watching today. So what I've learned is that get out of the research phase, gotta exit the research phase, gotta get something off the ground and you gotta just do it. But I give myself grace for that when I'm young. Again, I do not even know how young I was when I, was in the research phase of that potential flipping iPhones business and flipping iPhones for a profit. I do not know. I might have been 6 years old. I will have to check that. But get out of the research phase and don't live there forever, and let the roots grow. Either by giving your learning time, giving myself time to learn the true fundamentals of options and all the different market scenarios that could happen and liquidity and all those things. So either let it go with time or you let it happen with speed. You accelerate your time. And unfortunately, I did not have that, because as much as I wanted to pursue that, and for some reason the fire was really, really strong when my time was being competed with school, even though I needed to pay attention in order to maintain my highest honor status, which I talk about in another video, going through high school and graduating top of my class. So you can check that out below the like button. And yeah, I needed to give myself either time to let the roots grow or increase my speed so that the roots would grow faster. So, and unfortunately I did not have either, and I needed to. But then with YouTube, the one thing I learned is that just consistency. And I heard actually this quote from Chris Williamson the other day when he said that consistency does not necessarily guarantee success, but not being consistent guarantees that you will not be successful. So you have no choice but to be consistent, because as long as we keep living, we have nothing but years. So you might as well do something with them. You might as well be consistent in building something for yourself. So why not be consistent? So just some various lessons through my years. I'm only 18, but I've done a lot, and I expect to continue doing a lot. And I'm thankful that I've already dabbled in various things in my life at this point, so that I can have a good business-minded foundation on how to attack things even as I continue my journey on the way up, which I hope you'll subscribe to my channel to join me on.